In the summer of 1776, 56 men signed this document. In the eyes of the British Empire, these names were a written confession of high treason. The signatories knew that if their rebellion failed, they would end their lives on the gallows. Challenging the most powerful military on Earth was a suicide mission. Someone had to provide the strategic planning and international support necessary to give these colonists a chance at survival. The mind behind this impossible rebellion didn't belong to a general or a king. It belonged to a runaway teenager who began his journey with 3 pennies in his pocket. Benjamin Franklin's early life was defined by labor, not luxury. He left school at age 10 to melt wax in his father's candle shop, and eventually committed a crime by breaking his legal apprenticeship contract to flee Boston. He arrived in Philadelphia at age 17 after a grueling 300-mile journey. He had no money and no connections, just 3 rolls of bread and the dirty clothes he was wearing. While he lacked financial resources, he possessed an obsessive intellectual curiosity. He demonstrated early on that a sharp, disciplined mind can outmaneuver the disadvantages of poverty. Denied a formal education, Franklin taught himself. He spent his nights dissecting the structure of successful arguments and studying the ways readers reacted to different writing styles, effectively learning how to move an audience. He applied these lessons to the printing business. In the 18th century, the printing press was the most efficient tool for distributing ideas and controlling the flow of information across the colonies. Franklin used the press to bypass social gatekeepers. When he was still a teenager, he invented a fake persona named Silence Dogood to publish his own articles in secret, allowing him to influence public opinion without being dismissed because of his age. His newspaper, the Pennsylvania Gazette, and his annual Almanack became the most widely read publications in America. By mixing practical financial advice with humor and weather data, he became a wealthy man and a trusted voice in colonial life. By distributing the same news and idioms throughout the colonies, he turned 13 disconnected regions into a single information network. This unified audience provided the intellectual foundation the colonies would need to act together during the Revolution. In the 1750s, lightning was a terrifying mystery. Most people viewed it as a divine punishment or a chaotic force of nature that no human could hope to understand, let alone control. In 1752, Franklin attempted a lethal experiment to prove a physics theory. He flew a kite into a thunderstorm, successfully drawing an electrical charge from the sky into a metal key. This discovery led him to invent the lightning rod. By offering the current a safe path to the ground, his invention began saving thousands of homes and churches from burning down. He chose never to patent the design. He believed that scientific knowledge should be shared freely to help protect the public, allowing the technology to spread across the globe. This breakthrough turned Franklin into a global scientific celebrity. This international reputation gave him the credibility he would eventually need to represent the American cause in the courts of Europe. As the Revolutionary War lacked the money and the naval power necessary to survive a long conflict against the British military, at age 70, Franklin sailed to France on a high-stakes diplomatic mission. His goal was to persuade King Louis XVI to fund and join a democratic rebellion. To win over the French public, Franklin intentionally rejected the powdered wigs and silk of the royal court. He wore a simple fur cap and plain spectacles, playing on the French fascination with American life to win their admiration and trust. After years of patient negotiation, his strategy succeeded. France signed a formal treaty providing the ships, soldiers, and financial aid that the American rebellion desperately needed to continue. Without leading a single regiment onto the battlefield, Franklin's strategic intellect secured the exact military support required to defeat a global empire. In 1783, Franklin helped negotiate and sign the Treaty of Paris. This document officially ended the war and secured international recognition of the United States as an independent country. 4 years later, the new nation was struggling with internal conflict and a failing government. Despite his old age and declining health, Franklin attended the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia. He worked as a quiet, steadying presence among the delegates, using his reputation to urge compromise between factions that were threatening to abandon the talks. When he added his signature to the Constitution, he helped lock into place the legal and political architecture of the nation he had spent his life building. Even in his final days, Franklin's mind remained focused on the future. Recognizing the profound contradiction of a free nation that permitted slavery, he spent his last months writing petitions for its total abolition. Franklin is the only non-president featured on high-denomination U.S. currency. His presence on the $100 bill honors the intellectual labor and civic discipline required to establish a republic. A boy who left school at age 10 ended his life as a world-renowned scientist and a founder of a new nation. He proved that curiosity and a sharp mind can rewrite a life's trajectory and the history of a country.